I feel like because of how, I don't know, just peculiar our circumstances were when we like reconnected. I think our first date, in my mind, I kind of call it like sort of like restarting our relationship. So I'm going to call that the first date. Really was in Edinburgh, Scotland. It was like, I haven't seen her forever. And, we planned a trip when she had like 5 days left after Alyssa was leaving from Ireland. I was living in London, and we decided to go to this cool place after we hadn't seen each other for years. And that was almost like a blind date, you know what I mean? But we knew each other, but like not really. So yeah, it would be Scotland, Edinburgh. That's the first date, and the date ended up being for like 4 or 5 days, and it continued from Scotland to London. So yeah, not bad for a first date actually. And I guess she had nowhere to run and couldn't escape, even if the date sucked. So oh shit, that's a totally messed up question because I know where it happened, and I feel like it was me. Again, I feel that it was me. Not 100% sure though. I think it was me. I know I know when it happened. It was at my mom's house. I think it was a Christmas holiday party just with my family, and um, Amy was out there just jumping in with my fam as if she had always been there. Talking to my mom, helping her do stuff, and I could just see like how my mom felt about her and how she fit with the family. And I think that's when I was just like, wow, like I really do feel a lot. I always knew I felt a lot, but like that's when I kind of was just like, whoa. And then we went into this like small little guest room, which ended up being our room when we moved to LA for way longer than we expected. It's super small. And she sat on the bed, and we had a conversation about that. So that's where it happened. I also think that same holiday she cried after opening up my Christmas gift because I bought her a cell phone charger, but it wasn't any cell phone charger. Her phone always used to die. It was a really cool case that protected her phone from breaking because she drops it once a day, and it also would keep her phone alive so you can communicate, and so that problem wouldn't happen. But it was a good learning lesson that you don't buy practical things for the people you love, especially if they're your significant other. You buy things that are pretty and make them feel good, but don't really have much purpose after that.
Great lesson. I'm glad you brought up that story. Oh, that was a good memory. I remember that. Did you buy the terrarium after that book, the terrarium book?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, it was okay. It wasn't like just a terrarium book. Amy was obsessed with succulents, and it was about succulent. The problem was that I made a joke about getting her a puppy, and she thought that was literal, but that was never literal. So I feel like if she never had the puppy in her brain, then the gift would have gone better. But she thought she was getting a puppy, and she got a book about succulents instead, which is obviously way less interesting and exciting. And then she cried.
Yes, and there was no succulent along.
First word, passionate. Second word, justice. Third word, family.
Oh.
Persian food, I would say. Well, she's a rice. Amy loves like Persian style rice. It's like a kryptonite. She always overeats and she always feels bad. And it happens every time. And I think it comes from like the fact that she had to fight for food with two older brothers her whole life. So it's kind of this like, if I don't eat it now, I might never eat again sort of syndrome. But she absolutely loves Persian rice, and I love making it for her. So it's fun. That's definitely me. She knows that. She knows it, but she is quite frankly a great cook. She does like things surprisingly well, and I'm really shocked sometimes, because there's between our relationship, there's just been like this thing that Nima's like the chef cook restaurant guy, and Amy's like the baker kind of person. But She made one of the best things I've ever had recently in terms of like things we've cooked together. She made this amazing fish with some like a basic seasoning and almost like caramelized roasted lemon peels. It was unbelievable. So she is a good cook, but I think overall, like if we had to create like character attributes, I would be probably stronger overall in that world. Prettiest? Okay, that's also definitely me. And she'll probably say that's because Nima doesn't have anything and he can live out of one suitcase. And Amy's a nester and she kind of builds like a home, and building a home comes with a lot of stuff. I get that, but I'm definitely more tidy, and I think a little bit like panic OCD about spaces being clear of clutter, so like my brain can think. Amy likes to buy a lot of stuff and collect a lot of stuff, but then get too busy to return anything. And then so it just sort of takes over. But then we purge. We've been purging really well lately, actually. There's been lots of returning happening. I've been helping. I have more bandwidth, so I've been able to contribute more to our partnership lately and helping her get rid of things. Ideal date. Oh, Amy's ideal date. I can speak more in terms of general terms. Amy loves surprises. She definitely likes when people take the time to really think through something for her, because she does that for everybody else. She thinks so much about everybody else, sometimes she forgets about herself. So, I think if it's a date that's a surprise, it definitely has like a really interesting, like, drink component to it, whether it's like cocktails that are creative or cool and like a fun ambiance. She really likes the ambiance and we like to talk about it a lot. Food wise, she likes a lot of different foods. It's hard. I mean, she loves tacos. She loves Persian food. She likes kind of Asian style food, but I think the date is more about the experience for her, less necessarily about the genre of food. I think it's more that it just feels special and not that it was like thrown together last second without really any thought about it. You know what I mean? So I think her perfect date is a date that consideration went into, thought went into, and that like does create some magic, and that magic comes from like the thoughtfulness, I think. I mean, that's a hard one. I don't really know. I don't think I've spent enough time to really think about that for myself. Like, what would I want? I think maybe I also really like experiences. I really like the environment, so I think going to some place that really has the like the charming details of the experience thought through, not necessarily in planning the date, but let's say you go to a restaurant, right? Like notice when someone thinks through a door handle at the bathroom, and that if that door handle is like a wine bottle, or if there is this interesting like mural in the bathroom or something charming that's communicated somewhere, or those are the things that I really enjoy. It's like when we go on a date in those environments and we get to spend time there together and talk about it and have fun and imagine for ourselves what we would do someday if we opened up a place like that. Like those are my favorite kind of dates. Definitely like a cocktail component too. I love interesting cocktails and really I can go anywhere. It doesn't really matter. Like it's just as long as like that experience is there and we're having a good time. For me, that's enough. That's hilarious. If Amy had, does it have to be a superpower that's contained to the Marvel universe, or is it just across all universes, Chelsea?
Well, number one, good clarifying question. Number two, I wouldn't know which ones are part of that universe or not. Number three, you can use your widest imagination. Or you could pick two if one is outside and one's in. Whatever.
Okay. I
Sure,
think
no, rules.
I think Amy would be like her superpower. That's a hard one. I feel like I know what kind of superhero she would be, not necessarily what her superpower would be. I think she would be, she'd be like Captain Justice or something. She'd be some kind of like person that fought for things that are right and stood for principles and values. And then to that end, maybe she did have some really cool superpowers where she, was stronger and faster than average folks. I don't know if Amy would be like the flying type of superhero, but she is passionate and fiery. So maybe she has like super strength and super speed and is somehow able to use that to make the world a more just and fair place. And I think that's what she would more or less do. That, yeah. And she would probably fit really nice in the Marvel universe too, based off of what I described. I'm probably just describing Captain America now, which kind of feels stupid, but that's kind of where I think Amy would be. What I'd like out of our relationship is for us to find the time to focus on ourselves enough so that we can be full for the other person, if that makes sense. Meaning like not letting life stress us out so much and work, grind us to a pulp. But sort of always having that priority checklist in our brain of what's important first. And Amy and I have a conversation often about me always pushing her to prioritize herself, find time for yourself. Your health should be your number one priority so that, you can be here long-term for me and for our kids. And likewise, I want to do the same thing myself for her. I want to carve out the time for myself to be healthy so that, 30, 20 years from now, like, I'm the dad that's running around with our kids and going on trips and having the energy to do so. And sometimes it's hard for us to do that. We're both very motivated people in our respective ways. And I think if we can be more disciplined on that, I think that we will not only be able to be more present for ourselves and find that space to express that. And I just think it's also going to be good long term. I would probably respond back with some like, I don't know, funny, sarcastic one-liner, but I think I'm going to probably go a different route this time. I think I'd probably tell you guys to really slow down for a second and take a breath and see each other and just understand that life is fleeting and we're getting older and community is everything. That's the magic. That's what keeps us happy over the long term. We're meant to be around people we love. And as we get separated and move further and further away, that part of our life is truly getting harder, and figuring out ways to hold on to that as hard as we can and rebuild it is the most important thing in this world, I think. Not just for relationships, because specifically for relationships, because relationships need that. And you guys are a fantastic group of friends, and I've always admired, I've told Amy this, that she has these groups of friends that she's held on to that have remained so close for so many years. And it's something I'm quite frankly jealous about. And so many of you have also become close friends with me, and it's been an absolute honor to get to know you and just be involved in your life. So that's something that I cherish. And I would say dance the night away, have fun, and take, a few minutes and really talk to each other. And hopefully there's some midget strippers there for Tamara. Besides that, I think that's it.